Next, we travel to Signal Mountain, Tennessee, to tour Marrcrest, an exquisite example of the Italian Renaissance style that was built in 1926. The home has been beautifully restored to historic preservation standards. And when renovations began in 1996, a wonderful chain of events was set in motion that would eventually touch many lives.
The story of this impressive home begins with a man named Walter Marr, who was an automotive pioneer.
Walter Marr built the first Buick for Buick Motor Company and started Buick Motor Company with David Buick. And he patented the valve and head engine. So he pretty much fathered the automobile industry.
In 1914, Marr was passing through East Tennessee, and after one overnight stay at the Signal Mountain Inn, he decided to make his home here.
He was an insomniac, and it was supposedly the best night's sleep he ever had. He asked his wife if it was okay with her, and her response was, "It suits me too." And that's the name of the house next door that they bought initially and lived in while they built this house.
Each of Marrcrest's 3 floors is a base of poured concrete. Marr's goal was not only to create a tranquil estate, but also to make his home fireproof.
The very first factory that Walter Marr had with Buick burned to the ground. And in it, some of his models and cars and things, so he had a fear of fire after that point. And so the home is built fireproof.
It took about 2 years to build Marrcrest, and Walter Marr was on site to oversee every detail of construction.
The floors are all Italian marble, and outside, all the marble work outside, all the marble came from Italy, and crews came from Italy and laid all the marble, and they had to have a translator here to translate between the people that came over from Italy to the people actually, building the house.
That craftsmanship is still evident almost 80 years later in features such as interior mahogany doors with holly inlay. Also remaining are the original brass doorknobs cast with the Marrcrest monogram. The home remained in the family until 1996, when it was purchased by Robert and Charlotte White. With just a few electrical and plumbing upgrades, the Whites could focus their attention on restoring the home to the way it was in the 1920s. They enlisted the help of Nashville decorator Will Hendricks, who is also an architectural historian.
Everything was totally white, and we knew there was so much detail there that needed to be brought out, and we, through Will, brought in a decorative painter from Nashville and just trusted his judgment. We had him paint one ceiling, loved it, and just went from there and trusted him to bring out all the detail that we wanted to see that we knew was there, and I think he did a wonderful job.
The decorative painter was Ron Ames. Among his clients was George Bush Sr., who hired him to do some painting at the White House. After the Whites saw Ames work firsthand, they let him work as he wished in the rest of the house. On the dining room ceiling, Ames painted this breathtaking fan of leaves. Each leaf represents a type of tree that can be found on the estate's 11 acres. While Marrcrest is a true example of the Italian Renaissance style, it also offers a warm welcome to those who visit, and for the Whites' 3 young sons.
When we moved in, we only had 1 child at the time, but knew that we wanted to have more, and it was so important to us for the home to be warm and livable. It had to be functional. It could not be like a museum, and we wanted anyone who walked in the door to know they could sit on any piece of furniture and be totally comfortable with that, and that we would not have a problem with it. And the boys jump on the furniture, they play football in the house, they ride their bikes in the hall, because they're still young enough to do that, and we live in this house. It's not just a house that you just look at. It's not like a museum. It's a home.
The Whites spend much of their time here in the drawing room.
When we named the rooms in the home, we tried to use original names that Walter Marr used when he designed this house. And this is our living room. We live in this house. This is our den. And what I would not want you to miss in this room is the ceiling is amazing. And then also the rug in this room, the rug on the floor. We were very fortunate to be able to get that with the house when we bought the house. And the marble mantle is just wonderful.
The Whites used the library as an office. In the attic, they discovered these doors that had been designed for the library bookcases but were never installed. In the library, they also used original window treatments that had been in Walter Marr's upstairs office. All of the wallpaper in the house are hand-blocked William Morris designs. The paper on the vaulted ceiling in the entry hall is covered with stars that create a magical effect at night. The molding in the entry hall was subtly painted with original paint found in the basement during the restoration process.
In the molding, Ron Ames, our decorative painter, came up with the theme, the 4 seasons. And in that molding, if you look carefully, you'll see different colors that bring out different seasons. And so in that molding, you actually can see 4 seasons.
Just off the entry hall is another delightful room.
It was the original breakfast room. We just use it as a sitting room, but still call it the breakfast room because that is the original name for the room. The cabinetry in that room is original. We've done absolutely nothing to that except clean it. And that and the molding in that room are just wonderful.
The Whites used this room to enjoy many of their meals.
The morning room ceiling is the first ceiling that Ron Ames painted for us, and it has a sky scene on the ceiling, and it is just so soothing, and that is what we use as our breakfast room. The swords are an addition that we made from a trip that we took to Italy in 2002, and that was just something that we fell in love with.
The Marrcrest kitchen is also a center of activity for the Whites and is a space in which Charlotte really likes to work.
We kept the original cabinets. I did not want to do that. Will forced me to, and I'm so glad that he did because it just has added so much character to the kitchen. The most wonderful thing about that is the island in that room, the face on the island, was from an original cabinet that was sitting on the back porch. We took the face of the cabinet, recycled it, kept all the mismatched hardware on there, none of it matches, and it has made a wonderful, wonderful addition to the kitchen.
The Whites have been fortunate in securing some of the pieces that are original to Marrcrest, such as this settee that is in the entry hall.
We have been so lucky. The family, the Marr family, one of the granddaughters lives next door, and a couple of others live in the area, and every time they decide to get rid of a piece of furniture, they call us first, which we are very thankful for. So we've been able to acquire some of those pieces from the family members. We have come up with a history table for the home and the Marr family, and at that table we have placed 2 chairs that are original to Marrcrest. We've had the seats recovered, and then everything else is exactly the way that it was. The woodwork is the same. We didn't have to do anything to that, so those are original.
A visit to Marrcrest is captivating and even inspired the composition of a modern classical piano concerto. Eventually, the piece was written for a full orchestra and has been recorded on a CD by the Chattanooga Symphony.
We had someone come here and stay that we did not know, and we were actually gone out of town. And they'd have Steinway brought into the house, and he played music for the week, and was inspired to write a piece of music about this place, and then just gave it to us as a gift. And so it was a piano solo to begin with, and then for Charlotte's, our 10-year anniversary, kind of a semi-surprise, I had it orchestrated and performed by the Chattanooga Symphony and recorded.
Marrcrest is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and as the Whites uncovered their home's history, they realized that the surrounding neighborhood should be preserved too.
We use this house as the cornerstone of the historic district, and 181 homes. It's the second largest historic district in the state of Tennessee, and it pretty much just means this quality of life that drew Walter Marr here, that drew us here, that draws all these people here, is going to always stay like this.
The Whites' commitment to historic preservation has been far-reaching, and they do enjoy sharing the history and their home with others.
It is open for tours occasionally. We strive to be available anytime the community asks us to do anything. We want them to know that we're totally open and just want to do anything we can to help our community.
Dates of Marrcrest tours are posted on the same website where you can purchase one of the lovely 4 Seasons of Marrcrest CDs at www.marrcrestpublishing.com.
Finally, we head to North Georgia and what is called the